Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Dudu, back at it again with another banging video. In today's video, as you already see by the title, I am going to be doing a UK university application Q&A. I'll be answering all your questions, all your burning questions on everything around applying to university here in the UK. So when it comes to scholarships, course, personal statements, the application form, grade requirements, and all of that. I did put out a post here on YouTube 2 weeks ago to ask you guys to send me questions, and you guys sent so many questions, so thank you for that. I also did put out a post, a Q&A sticker on Instagram to get more questions. So in today's video, basically I'll be answering all of those questions, hopefully to help you guys in your application process, whether it's the application form, visa application, scholarships, and all of that. So I have categorized the questions into 6 different categories to make this easier. So we have the application timeline, education, grades and requirements, personal statement, scholarships and course, foundation year, and other. So basically those are the different sections. I will put timestamps in the video so that you can jump to whatever is most beneficial to you, but I do recommend that you watch and look at all the other sections in case there is something that is important. If this does sound useful to you, make sure you keep on watching. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below to join this amazing family. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tuning in. And without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Before we get into the video, just to give you guys context, if you are new or this is the first time you've bumped into me, I am an international student from Zimbabwe studying here in the UK. I am studying at King's College London, studying computer science, currently in between my 2nd and 3rd year of studies, doing an industrial placement. So yeah, whenever I answer these questions, I will be sharing my experience, try to help you guys from my experience and also research that I've done on top of that. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first questions I'm going to answer are around the application timeline. I'll be reading my questions from my laptop, so don't mind me when I look down. I have also put some notes so that I don't forget anything, so if I look down, that is why. So someone asked, I'm starting matric in a few days. When do I start applying? Very good question. So if you're starting matric now in January of 2023, or you're starting your final year in general, wherever you are in January 2023 with a January to December academic calendar, it means that you want to start university in September 2024 or September the following year. Therefore, the applications for that September following year or September 2024 open in May of 2023 or May of your final year. I hope that answers the question. So in an overall application timeline, you want to look at the first time that you're free from high school and will be able to start, meaning if you have a January to December calendar, the first time you finish high school and are able to start is the following September, and the following September applications open in the May that you're currently in. So I would say take this time between January until the applications open in May to research, look into what you want to study, so that when the applications come out, you're just like, you know, creating a UCAS account, starting your application and all of that. And also just to give you an overall application timeline, I said applications open in May of the year, and then we'll have the first deadline in October of the year. So for medicine courses and courses in Cambridge and Oxford University in the UK, the deadline is actually on the 15th of October, the year before you want to start. So very important to note that. And then the main deadline is going to be January of the year you want to start. I really hope that answers your question. Someone also said, should I start applying now as I'm in grade 12? I hope I've answered your question. The answer is yes, start looking into it, but your application will actually open in May this year. When should you start applying? During which part of high school? Final year is when you actually start applying, but starting your research, I recommend the year before. I'm currently studying in +2. My exam results will publish on April or May. Can I apply for undergraduate degree before the result? 100% yes. I think this is actually a question that is important for all of you. This will also kind of bring me to my education section that I'm going into next, but you can apply for university before you get your results, okay? If you get your results after the deadline, you can use predicted grades to apply. Basically, the way it goes is if you're getting your results after the January deadline, or you want to submit your application early before you get your results, then you do your full application, you do your personal statement, go to your other teachers that teach you, you get your predicted grades. Make sure, I'm pretty sure there's a proper system at your school. Get those predicted grades, give them to your referee, and in their reference they write out, oh, this person is predicted this for this subject, this for that subject, and then you send out your application without grades. If you go to the education section, right, and you're inputting your exam board and all of that, it does let you put a date in the future. So if you put a date in the future, then you can just say your grade is pending, and that is okay. You can submit your application on that, and basically you will get your offer based on your predicted grades. It'll be a conditional offer that is based on you getting those grades that you were predicted. I really hope that explains it, because I know this is a point that a lot of people get confused by. Apply whether or not you have gotten your grades, as long as you're gonna get your results before August when you want to start in September. Okay, so it's really that close. Basically in the UK, the way it works is actually they get their results, their A-level results, in August when they want to start in September. So they just carry out conditional offers until then, and then when they get their results and send them to the university, then they confirm the places and everything's okay. So it is not an exception for us. You can literally do the same thing. I was lucky, I got my results like 2 or 3 days before the deadline, so I waited until then, put them in, and then sent them, but it's not always possible. So yeah. So moving on to the next section, which is education, basically grades and results and requirements and all of that. I have kind of talked a little bit about this in answering the last question, but let's get into it. Someone asked, I wanted to ask when universities usually respond if you apply by the January deadline, and how likely is it that you're accepted if you don't meet grade requirements? Very good question. To answer the first part, when do universities usually respond if you apply by the January deadline? It really depends on the university. So you have some universities that respond based on when you send the application, and some that respond based on that January deadline. Meaning, if someone applies in September and you apply on the January deadline, some universities will wait to get all their applications and then respond once, and then those will usually respond around March onwards. And then if it's a university that responds based on, when you send your application, it might be in like 2 weeks or a month. So basically like still January or February. And to give you an example, I submitted my application like 2 or 3 days before the deadline, so it was around 13 January. The deadline was on the 15th of January. So one of the universities actually gave me an offer around 25 January, and then the rest of them surprisingly all came in March onwards. And so yeah, again, it depends on the university. Some of them will actually come to you with responses of, oh, we want to do an interview and all of that. So if you want to see the exact dates of when I got my offers and everything, do check out my university decision reaction video. I'll link it up here, but I basically show you in real time the dates of when I was getting my offers, but it really differs. Second part of your question, how likely is that you'd be accepted if you don't meet grade requirements? Now this depends on how off you are from the grade requirements. If the requirements are, for example, A star, and you get A A, it is not too bad, and you do still have a high chance of going in. Basically when I applied, the requirements were A AA, and I got A AB, and I still got my offer at King's College London. So I'd say if you're 1 off, it's not too bad. If you're 2 off, it's still possible if there were certain circumstances that made you, not perform as well. And, especially if you had like predicted grades that did meet that, you can say, something happened or whatever it is, and you can ask your referee to write down whatever it is that might have affected your exam time, and make sure that they put it in a way that shows that it doesn't reflect your ability. It was really just like that one exam. And they can also mention how usually you are like a really top achiever, and so if it's like 2 grades below, you could. But also at the same time, some universities are really competitive to a point where requirements might be A and people who go there just get like A star, A star, A star. And so I would say look into the university, look at the acceptance rate, and try by all means not to get more than 2 grades below the requirements. Someone asked, I wanted to ask, how high of a GPA would I need to apply to the UK? This depends on the university, but if you go to a university website, guys, this is a hack. If you go to a university website and go to their course, the course you want to study, you can look at grade requirements for your specific country. I will put like a screen recording or something on the screen to show you. You go to requirements and then you look for international student requirements, you search up your country, and it will show the requirements for your specific country. This is how I did it. This is how I always do it when people ask me, and so I really recommend that you do that, because if it changes for university, you don't want to have this one picture where you think this is the correct one. You want to really make sure for each university you're able to know the correct requirements. Someone asked, what do you think I need to get in my WAEC and IGCSE to get admitted into King's College University? Again, really highly recommend that you do the process that I just explained. Go to King's College University website, search up your country. I'm pretty sure that's for Nigeria. Search up their requirements for Nigeria for your degree program, because again, I think it's really important to note that requirements differ by course. So it's hard for me to answer these questions when you just say to get into King's. It will differ by course. So make sure you follow those steps and you'll get exactly what it is that you need. Very important question that I get a lot. With what reports do you apply for university? With your grade 11 results or grade 12 results? I'm in grade 12. This is someone from South Africa, I assume. You apply with your grade 12 results. So basically, when the UK is giving requirements for us international students, they do equivalent to their A level. And so the equivalent for A level for South Africa is grade 12. So to answer your question, you apply with grade 12. If you have not gotten your grade 12 grade 12 results by the time you want to apply, again, as I said, you can apply before you get your results and send your results once you get them. Also, if you are from South Africa, I do recommend that you watch the interview I did with Cheryl Moyo. She was an international student from South Africa, and so I asked her a few questions about all these things so that you guys would get like a perspective from someone who actually applied from South Africa. So yeah, highly recommend. I was also asking these questions, so make sure you check it out. What did you get for your A-levels? If you are willing to share. Yes, I think I already mentioned it. I got A star, A, B, and fun fact, I got A star for accounting, I got an A for mathematics, and B for computer science. So I got my B in computer science and I was applying for computer science. I want to highlight as well that you don't have to have your top grade in the thing that you want to study. If you really are passionate about the subject, then even if you've gotten the lower grade in it, you can still apply for it and you could get it, like me. Is having work experience a necessity? I live in an area where job shadowing is very difficult to find. So no, absolutely not. For an undergraduate degree, having job experience, work experience is not a necessity at all. I did not have any work experience when I was applying for my degree. Never worked before. This placement that I'm currently doing, which is after 2 years of my degree, is the first time I'm working properly. So to answer your question, very short and sweet, no, you don't need work experience. It's extracurricular activities that will carry you. Yeah, that is it for the education section. I really hope I have covered most of your questions and all your burning questions and things that you guys want to know. Things that I just want to highlight is that you can apply before you get your results, and make sure to go to the university websites to find out the requirements for your country. So the next category is personal statement. Someone said, thank you for creating this space. You're welcome. I'd like to ask what your start to the personal statement was like, as it can be the hardest part. 100% agree. Starting the personal statement is hard. Before I tell you my start, I highly recommend that you don't get stuck in the beginning. Start in paragraph 2. This is actually what I did. I literally left the first, because the first paragraph can be like 2-3 lines, like the introduction. You can leave that and start where you can flow, and you can come back to it, and sometimes it actually comes to you in a way that flows. But basically, I started my personal statement with like technology facts that I found interesting, like like personally interesting, so I kind of just started with that and then flowed from that to say how that jogged my interest and why I want to be part of that in the future and how I want to explore learning things like this and all of that. So yeah, I don't want to tell you guys more specific stuff because I know sometimes you can end up being fixated on that, but I did make 2 videos on personal statements that you can check out, where I think I gave a few more examples of how you can start your personal statement and how to kind of go about idea generating the start to your personal statement. So yeah, hope that answers your question. Someone said, I'm currently in the application process. I don't know the UCAS deadline, the minimum and a maximum character limit, because I've written my personal statement but I don't know the character limit. Also, is it possible for me to use my home tutor as my reference? I will really appreciate it if you answer all my questions. Good question. To answer the first part of your question, the UCAS deadline for September 2023 entry is the 25th of January. So it's in a few days. And yeah, however, guys, please, whoever you are, I hope you come to this part of the video. However, international students are allowed by some universities to apply after the deadline. So guys, I'm going to repeat this. This is not a myth, this is true. Some universities do allow us international students to apply after the deadline. So I highly recommend that you do research though on the specific university, because if your university is very competitive, it's highly likely that they will only take those international students that applied in time as well, but other universities will let you apply well after the deadline. And so the deadline is not the end of it, okay, but it is recommended that you apply by then, because then you have wider options and you know you can also apply to the competitive universities and really get like your top choices and everything. So yeah, I hope that helps. Sorry guys, the sun keeps running away. But to answer the second part of your question, the maximum character requirements for a UCAS application is 4,000 characters, which is about 880 words. Make sure you keep a character count, whether if you're doing this in like Microsoft Word, look at the character count at the bottom, because the characters do include spaces, so make sure you check that, because once you copy and paste your personal statement into the space in the UCAS website, the UCAS application, you won't be able to paste anything more than the 4,000 characters. So yeah, highly recommend that you keep track of that as you write your personal statement. Also, is it possible for me to use my home tutor as a reference? The answer is yes. If your home tutor is basically your teacher, 100% okay. Basically, your referee should be someone who knows you academically, who can vouch for you to want to study this degree, who can say how you'll be an asset to this university and kind of talk about what they know about you in a way that shows that you're interested in that degree program or in that aspect. And so yeah, I will put links down in the description of the UCAS website where they talk in depth about these things of who they recommend to be your referee and everything. One thing that is really not recommended is to have your family or parents be your referees, because there's a lot of conflict of interest. They can write a lot of nice things about you and actually make some things up. So definitely try getting a teacher, and if there's no one teacher that knows you well, get like different summaries from different teachers and then give to the one teacher who knows you better and get them to incorporate that in that reference. So there is something that will be sent to your referee. They're not just being left to write their own thing. So yeah, that is this personal statement section. And moving on into the scholarship section. Now, I will say I've gotten so many questions under scholarships, and unfortunately I won't be able to answer all of them today, because scholarships, undergraduate scholarships, are a very hard and difficult topic because there's not a lot of them here in the UK, but I will try my best. What I will say and what I do want to say is that, guys, go to university websites. This is what I do when I'm also looking for scholarships to give to you guys, to kind of share with you guys. I will go to the university website, I will go to their scholarships to see what the best option for us international students is. One thing I have noted is that Oxford and Cambridge have really good scholarships for undergraduates, but they are quite competitive. So those are a few to look at if you are looking for scholarships. And postgraduate courses have a lot more scholarships. They have full scholarships where even accommodation, living expenses and allowance is given. And so if you cannot get an undergraduate scholarship, I would say do not despair and do not give up on the dream. Do go and like do your undergrad somewhere else, and then you can come to the UK to do your postgrad, because by then there's so many scholarships for like postgrad which are fully funded, accommodation covered and everything. So yeah, that I think is a very good summary. I will try and read a few of these questions to see if there's anything I can answer now, but guys, highly recommend go to universities, find scholarships. If not, look in your country as well, find out if they do sponsor people to go outside the country and all of that. So yeah, looking at the questions, a lot of people are asking, can you give names of universities which just give scholarships? Very challenging. I have one scholarships video that I made, so make sure you check that out, because some of those scholarships are yearly and so you can still apply to those. So highly recommend. How to apply, requirements. In terms of the applications for the scholarships, it's more or less like a university application. You will write a personal statement of some sort, like to say why you deserve that scholarship. And scholarships are different as well. They are like academic scholarships, so those are based on you getting really good academics and, you know, talking about your career, talking about why this can help you really be top achieving and everything. And then there's some like financial needs based scholarships, and so those will also be based on, you know, you showing your passion and really wanting to do this degree, and how currently your financial situation doesn't allow you to do that and all of that. So I'd say those are the different things that you'd be writing in those applications, and you also might have an interview. And so yeah, in terms of the application, it really is a personal statement, an interview, and yeah. I said, what should I do in sixth form to look for better scholarships? And that's a very good question. I did do a video to say what you need to do in sixth form or in high school to help you kind of, you know, write a good personal statement or set you up for university. And the same things apply for scholarships. So kind of doing extracurricular things that really show your drive and passion for that subject. If it's financial needs based, so having done all those extra things, really show how you're passionate and you're really trying to advance yourself in that topic, in that degree, in that aspect. So yeah, sorry, the sun keeps moving and I keep moving with the sun. What I will say is that I don't want you guys to just only keep your mindset on the UK, especially when it comes to scholarships, because again, like I said, for undergrad, the UK doesn't have the best scholarships, so you can go ahead and look at the US. I know they do sports scholarships, they do academic scholarships, so you can also look into that. The US is a lot bigger, so chances of you getting scholarships for undergrad are also a bit higher, like full scholarships. I know if you get a part scholarship, like doing the other part in the US can be hard because their tuition is really high, but don't limit yourself to just the UK, especially when it comes to scholarships. So yeah, I hope that helps. If you get a scholarship, do you still need proof of financial services? The answer is no, because you've gotten a scholarship. What you do need is a letter from the scholarship provider to say, we are providing you a scholarship, we're providing so and so with the scholarship of full tuition stated, like the proper amount, and this is official, and they sign it and everything. So that is what you require. If you check out my visa requirements video, I did talk about this in a bit more detail, so you can check that out. You basically just need a letter from your scholarship provider. Those are kind of the specific questions that I got from this section. Most questions are give us scholarships, and like I said, very difficult. I will try and make a separate scholarship based video, but for now I definitely highly recommend that you check my previous one, because those scholarships are yearly and so you can still apply for those. But go to universities, a university that you find interesting, go to their website, search up their scholarship, find something that is specific to you, and you might find something. And don't give up if you're not finding. Like I said, you can do undergrad in your country, come back for postgrad, you will have a full scholarship, cost of living covered, allowance given and everything. They really do better for postgrad because it's literally 1 or 2 years, whereas undergrad is like 4 years, so it's really hard for them to sponsor someone for like 4 years for an undergrad degree. But yeah, So moving on to the next category, we have foundation year. So I have a few questions in this section. Someone said, I'm currently in grade 12 at 6th form in Jamaica. However, I don't want to go into second year. If I apply to UK universities, can I still get in even though I've done 1 year? The answer is yes, and chances are you'll get into their foundation year program. So a foundation year is basically a 1 year like bridge course, sandwich course between high school and like starting your proper degree program. And this is basically to allow you to get prepared for the degree, kind of give you that A-level knowledge that will help you get directly into your course. This is actually a really popular thing that some people do. So yeah, definitely highly recommend if you are one of those people, because there's quite a lot of people who don't want to do their final year for one reason or another. Look into foundation year. You can always do that instead of doing your final year, especially if for some reason in your country the UK doesn't really, you know, recognize your final exam as enough to get into university. You can, instead of wasting time doing that final year and going, you know, to foundation year, do one exam and then do that one and go forward, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I'm going into my first year of A-levels and I only plan on doing 1 year and then try go to the UK, planning on studying electrical engineering or CS. Where do I start? Look into applying for foundation year to start in September 2024. Can you get acceptance into foundation year without qualification? Without qualification is a very big statement. I don't quite know what you mean by that. If you have done exams within your school, which are like some major exams, then contact the university. One thing I do want to mention is if you are never sure whether like certain qualifications are enough to get into either foundation year or certain degree program, email the university, you guys. The universities do respond. Find an email that has to do with admissions of the university you want to go to and ask them, hey, I have these grades, this is what I've done in these subjects, I haven't had like a proper national exam, is it possible for me to start a foundation year? So my answer would be it is possible, but I don't know what you mean by without qualification, because I would feel like you've done some exams that will warrant you to probably go into foundation year. So email the universities, and I do want to say it's very, very possible that you can. Oh yeah, that is it for the foundation year questions. There were very few, but again, foundation year as an option, very, very good option. Highly recommend that you check it out if you are not familiar with it, because if you sometimes don't qualify to start your degree, even if you finish high school, you don't qualify to start your degree at year 1, a foundation year can actually really help you to allow you to go into the degree that you wanted to do but were told that, you know, are maybe not as qualified to start from year 1. So yeah. Listen, we are really shifting for the sun today. Next category is cost. I have a few questions for this one. How much do you think UK universities cost, the tuition and all fees? Now, again, this is highly dependent on the university you want to go to, the city you want to go to, but I would say they will range from like tuition wise, they will range for international students from like 14 to 15,000 to like 30,000 plus pounds. And so yeah, that is tuition. And then when it comes to cost of living, London is very expensive. You will find it being around £1,000 in like student accommodation per month, and you know, private accommodation you could get somewhere around £800 plus per month. And in other cities, again, depends on what city you go to, you can find it maybe £400 per month for accommodation. And if you're living like, you know, on campus, you don't really have travel costs and all of that. So definitely dependent on cities. If you guys want me to do a video on which cities in the UK are most affordable to live in for universities as international student, do let me know, because London, I will not lie to you, I will come at you straight, is a very, very expensive one, because one, accommodation is quite high, you have to, and then like traveling is quite high because accommodation is outside the city and your university is most likely not campus based where you live near campus and you can walk. So yeah, there really are pros and cons for living in each city. And so yeah, I just would say that it's dependent on the university, but tuition around 14-15k to that's for like the really top universities. Which is the cheapest option, staying on campus or off campus? I'd say again, it depends on the city that you're in. Off campus is usually a lot cheaper because you can share with more people, which lowers a lot of costs. But sometimes you do have to start considering, like, you know, electricity bills and water bills separately, whereas if you're staying in like uni accommodation, that is all covered in your cost. So I would say overall, off campus, in a good city, off campus will be very, very affordable, where you're sharing with a few people and, you know, shared costs and everything. So yeah, but one thing I will say is highly recommend that in your first year you stay on campus. That way you meet people and meet the people that you're going to live with in second year onwards. And so yeah, those are basically all the sections that are kind of uni application related. But I do have a short section that I called other, where people asked a few questions that are not really specific to the application, but I think are still very, very relevant to you guys and would be of interest and could like help you in the future. So someone asked, could you please explain what a placement is, e.g. versus an internship, especially relating to uni curriculum? And that's a very, very good question. I'm doing a placement right now, and some countries call a placement an attachment year. Basically, the difference between placement and an internship is that a placement is for an entire year. So I finished doing my second year of university in June of 2022, and then in August I started my placement, and it is until August of 2023. Then I go back to university to do my final year and then graduate. So basically my degree program now becomes 4 years, where 1 full year is me being employed for 12 months at a company. So the application and everything is similar to an internship, but an internship is usually 3 months. It will be during the summertime, and it doesn't affect the duration of your course or anything. So yeah, relating to my uni curriculum, it's just something that I decided to pick. It's definitely optional. I didn't have to do a placement, but I thought it was helpful because I wanted to see how the industry is, and it was an option given to me, and I just thought it was really helpful, and I would highly recommend it. But if you don't want to take a full year out, you can always do summer internship, which is a 3-month internship. A continuation of that question, someone says, and when you apply for a degree in the UK, is a placement included in the curriculum, or do you apply for it separate? First of all, it's not mandatory to choose to have a placement in your degree, and then on top of that, you apply for it independently from a university. The university will support you. I got a lot of support from a university on, you know, how to write my CV, how to like do the different interviews and all of that. But when it came to applying, it was me applying, doing all the tests and everything. I know in some countries the universities have partnered up with like companies and all of that, and then they will, you know, just give you placements, but that's not how it is in the UK. You literally do job application, you job hunt like someone who's even a graduate and all of that. So yeah, I do plan on doing a series on all of that, so if you're interested in that, just watch out for a few videos from this one. I will explain everything to do with that, and you know, the test that I went through and all of that to get my placement. And someone else said in the other category, not an application thing, but are there many part-time jobs for international students in the UK? Good question, and I would say there are a lot of part-time jobs in general. I don't think they segregate according to international students or, you know, UK based people. So yes, you would be able to find a part-time job. I do have a lot of international student friends who do work part-time, and so no, you won't struggle just because you're an international student to find a job. If anything, if you struggle, it will just be a general struggle of like, you know, job hunting or anything. But being an international student will not be a factor to any of that. So yeah, you guys, those are all the questions I had from you guys. I really hope I managed to answer everything as best as I can. I know some places I cannot answer everything, especially when it comes to scholarships, and I'm really, really sorry about that. But I really hope, you know, the tips and everything that I said will help you kind of see how you can go about finding scholarships university by university, or in your country, or, you know, even in other countries. But I really hope you found this video useful. If you have any other questions, put them down in the comments below and I will answer them in the comments. And if I missed anything from questions that were asked, make sure you ask them again in this video and I will answer them 100%. This does bring us to the end of today's video, and I wish you all the best of luck in applying for university, whether you're applying this year or you're just preparing to apply for next year. I really, really hope what I said was useful. If it wasn't useful to you, but you know who it can help, make sure to share this video around. If you've come all the way to the end and you're not already subscribed, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below to join this amazing family, and don't forget to turn on your post notifications so that you are notified every single time that I post a new video. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.